Hi, I'm Tom Durer. I'm in charge of digital console sales for SoundCraft and Studio Live Sound here in America. And we're here in front of a compact SI console. In this case, it's a 24 input variant. We make two other variants, a 16 and a 32. Its sort of selling points and things that people love about it is its simplicity, basically. So when you walk up to the console, there's not a whole lot of clutter on the surface. It's a very simple surface. You have a single fader that deals with, obviously, with the input, a select switch, an on-off switch, and a single encoder. This encoder, which is above each of the 22 faders in the case of the 24 input console, can be one of three things: mic preamp gain, high-pass filter, or pan. So three of the most common used things appear here and are easily accessed. All your other functions on the console come through a sort of virtual or channel strip up here at the center of the console frame. To access this channel strip, you hit select on a channel. That now maps out the parameters onto the encoders here. So I won't go into each detail, but essentially you have a mic preamp with high-pass filter, a gate, a compressor, a 4-band EQ with sweepable high and lows and parametric mids, assignment to your mix bus, and 500 milliseconds of delay if you want to do time alignment or acoustic time alignment for phase things that might not be 180 degrees out of phase. So, in short, its beauty is its simplicity. You have a single encoder here for mic preamp control, you hit select here, and then you have basically your entire channel strip coming up there. One thing we don't have on the channel strip are the Aux Sends. So anytime you need to access Aux Sends, we do it in pretty standard fader flip or sends on fader mode. And our case, what you do is you basically hit one of these buses, and you have basically 14 of these Aux Sends, and I hit, say, bus 1 here, and you'll see that the faders now have jumped to a different position and have illuminated yellow. And that's one of the unique things about this console, and one of the things that both SoundCraft and Studer use in a lot of the digital range is the illumination of the fader slot. And the fact that we've illuminated the fader slot by color, it helps warn the user that you've switched modes. So it's no longer an input fader, it's a contribution to an output fader. So dark, it's an input. You see yellow, it's a contribution to an output, and it's either pre-fader if it's yellow, and I think I might have some post-faders down here, which will glow green when it's so it gives you immediate warning and identification of what the fader is doing, so you don't get confused between whether it's an input fader or a contribution to an auxiliary send. We also have 4 stereo Lexicon effects units built into the console. You can access those by hitting the Lexicon switch here. Again, that's one of the unique things about the SoundCraft consoles is that we do have a high-quality processor built in that from a name manufacturer. Again, one of the Harman companies, of which we are one, which makes it convenient. Again, like I said before, if you hit Lexicon, you see it bring up. Then you have 4 effects engines, and if I click in on one of these engines, I can now choose between 29 different parameters, and then or basically devices, and then I have 4 parameters that map out on those devices onto the touch screen selections here with hard encoders down below them, and I may have 1 or 2 or 3 pages of those depending on what's going on with that effect. If I pick a delay device, I'll get a tap tempo switch that maps out automatically right down here. So you've got 4 tap tempo switches, so very easy to set time-based effects or delays using your tap tempo switches here. As you heard me say earlier, you have 14 auxiliary sends from the console. Again, that will cover a lot of monitor usage. Will also give you, actually it covers quite a bit, because you got to remember you also have 4 effects sends, so you don't have to eat into your buses to get to your effects. You already got that covered. So one of the things we've put on the output of each output is a BSS graphic EQ. And there's one way that you can get to the graphic EQ is by hitting, let's say right now, we'll go to bus, and I can select a bus, and now hit graphic EQ down here, and you'll see that these now jump to be one set of bands of the graphic EQ. We put a silkscreen highlight here indicating the low bands, and then if I hit high bands, then the lower silkscreen comes into place. One thing you can't tell by looking at the video is that when you go through the null position right about here, we actually have energized the motor to create a center detent. So you can just feel it when you go through zero, so maybe gain or cut. You can sort of feel when you're in that position, which is sort of cute, and is advantages in terms of ease of use. So you've got one of these on every output, and so we've got 21 outputs. You've got 14 buses, so there can be pre-fader or post-fader Aux Sends. You also have 4 matrices, which I get to again by going to a fader flip mode right here, by going to MTX. And when I hit MTX, these now become my contributions to this matrix. This becomes my master output fader. These are my 14 pre or post Aux Sends that are feeding that fader. And if I need to get to my left, right, center contributions to matrix, I use my Alt switch and hit Alt matrix, and then I get left, right, and center showing up here for that matrix. 21 total buses, 14 Aux Sends, 4 matrices, left, center, and right outputs. We've introduced several new things to the console that have been asked for, and serving CCI's market. One of the most interesting things I think is the security function, which is this is the only console in the SoundCraft Studio Digital range that now has a security function. So it's sort of a big deal. So to get the security function, we'll go to the touch screen right here and touch security, which is an added switch here. And security, under the security window, you have a capability to add a user or create a user, and then you can assign the user a particular profile, which I do by hitting profile, and we can set up these different types of profiles where we can limit the user's access to either the input processing, the bus structure, the effect sends, layering, many things. It allows some filtering of what the volunteers or certain volunteers can reach on the console. So another thing we've done on the version 2 software is to put a fader layering system on this. So I hit fader setup here. This allows me to map out any input to any fader. So before I was limited to sequential inputs, 1 through 22 on the first layer, 23, 24, and returns on the second layer. Now with this new system, I can create on any of my layers a custom layout. So right here, we're sort of watching it split between A and B. And in the old days, if I went to the B layer, this was my effects returns. But some people said, well, I really need an effect return up on the main layer so I can write it with a vocal or something. So now I can take this and put it on both layers, actually. So if I want effect number 4 on both layers, I'm going to come up here and select the fader. Then I'm going to come up here to the touch screen and say I'm going to assign stereo input number 4 to that fader. And now you can see it glows blue, indicating it's a stereo effect return. So I have it both here, which I'm going to put up at the very top of the scale, and then I'm going to switch to layer B, and you'll see when I go to layer B, it's up here at the top of the scale here. So I can customize my layout to have important things on each layer if I need them to, and duplicate them up to 2 times if I want to on each layer. The other significant improvement on version 2 software is a copy-paste solution. We did have a very basic copy-paste solution on the first variant of the console, but it basically copied all the channel and pasted all the channel. So now we have a selective copy-paste where I select a channel, and then I have on the touch screen blocks here that I can enable or disable to allow the copy, what's being put on the clipboard. Once I've done that, I hold the paste command and hit select, and that pastes the selected channel to where I'm going. I can obviously make multiple pastes by just, as you can see, holding paste and hitting select, and that pastes it from the clipboard to multiple channels at one time. That's it. You can find more about us at www.soundcraft.com or obviously with your CCI representative.